Monday, April 28, 2014. This is Mercedes Diesel Guy, and this is my 1983 Mercedes 240 Diesel. Actually, this is the front passenger fender. My primary task for this evening is to clean this up and start repairing it. As you can see, I have a rust hole right here, rather large one, and some rust damage here at the rear bottom. Now, I had a pretty much perfect fender on the parts car, but I sold it a couple of months ago to somebody who needed it worse than I did. And I figured, well, I could repair this one. The only thing I've done on this so far is yesterday evening I hammered out what was a pretty big dent right here. This was all just bashed in, so I hammered that out, and basically, what I'm going to start doing this evening is I'm going to get the trim strip off, which the previous owner actually screwed on in at least one part. And I'm going to use the wire brush to strip off the rust, and I'll probably hose it down. And at that point, I may see if I can refit it to the car and start making marks for patches. Of course, if I do put it back in the car, I'm just going to lay the fender in place. I'm not actually going to bolt it on, because it'll probably have to come off again. So I'm going to get started now, and when I'm done for the evening, I'll show you my progress for the day. Well, this is where I am for the evening, and you can actually see that I have demasked the car. And that's just your little preview there of the car's final color. We have to do a little bit of hand touch up here and there, but I'm not going to worry about that for a while. I'm really happy with the color itself, and I'm excited to see the whole car in this color. I've also demasked the door jambs, so I can show you that. And overall, the jams actually turned out better than I ever thought they would. Not perfect, but very, very happy with this. And the other thing I did, as I already told you, was I worked this fender. It actually took quite a bit longer than I thought it would. These things always do. Initially, I was only concerned with this big rust hole right here, which is actually going to be reasonably straightforward to repair. It's not structural at all, obviously. It's not part of the unibody, and it's completely hidden by the bumper. So what I can actually do is I ground off all the bad areas, but I can even cut out the rust here, because there's not too much of it. And then I can weld this shut, and or actually just rivet some patches in place, and then maybe weld them also. But this will be completely hidden by the bumper. You'll never really know this was there. I also removed the trim strip, as I showed you earlier, and there was the one screw holding it on that went through here. I can weld that screw hole up. And there's two more holes right here. And if you see this residual filler here, I realized that this fender has been repaired in the past, and I'm not even talking about, the whatever Rust-Oleum overspray on this thing. This actually had been dented and pulled and filled at some point. You can see these two marks right here where it was pulled out by a slide hammer, and somebody probably worked it a bit with a hammer and dolly, that is. So I actually got all the paint off, and I did sand this all smooth. so there's no ridge between the filler and the metal. But it'll be easy just to weld up these holes and take care of that while I'm working on the fender. I also pretty much sanded off all the overspray. If the fender looks shiny right now, it's only because it's wet. I washed it down. I also prepped the bottom right there. So, between grinding the paint, sanding everything, cleaning this up, been out here probably close to 2 hours, so I've got to call it a night. So, that's my progress for the night. Like I said, I'm kind of kicking myself for selling the better fender, but you know, I work with what I've got. I mean, I could always get another fender, but that's money, and like I said, I can patch this up to be perfect, to be decently presentable, which is my goal for the car. So this is Mercedes Diesel Guy. Thanks for watching.